Welcome to the Peter Degedo podcast. It is Tuesday, September 26th, the year of our Lord 2017. You may have noticed on peterdegedo.com, the source of Christian libertarian viewpoint and news, that there has been a proliferation in the past couple days of news of digital currency, Bitcoin, and even cash in general. I think it is a very important topic for people to, especially Christians and libertarians and freedom-minded people, to have their eye on. I think a lot of libertarians and Americans in particular are looking at digital currencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, etc. as a anonymous way to transact business, to hand capital or exchange capital among two different parties without the man, the IRS, the bank, big government, big data, etc., being able to have their eyes, ears, and hands on those transactions. And I think that a lot of people think that this is something that they should be looking into. And so I've been posting a lot of articles on peterdegedo.com about this particular issue, and you may think that I am a supporter of Bitcoin and digital currency, and you would be mistaken on that. I do not think that digital currency is a good idea. Christians, you should be especially wary of things that can be transferable to what we would call the mark of the beast. Having economics in a digital platform is just one step closer to ultimate control. That you will not be able to conduct business in the marketplace without having that mark. And how do you think that those transactions will be handled? It'll be handled through this blockchain encryption Bitcoin technology. You think that I think that a lot of people would, back in previous history, would see the mark of the beast, that you can't, do commerce without, as the mark in the forehead or in the hand. That you have to kind of show the mark as a secret symbol to be able to transact business. What we're now finding, I think, is that that mark is actually the transaction piece. It's what you call a credit card built in your head, a credit swiper or RFID chip right in your hand that you're able to conduct business right there with a swipe of your hand. You see that the country of Sweden is moving further and further in that particular direction. I believe the article had said that they're down to about 40% or less of their transactions nationwide are being handled, via cash, which means that people are using obviously their credit cards, but now they're using other methods as well. Bitcoin being, I think, the most prevalent of those methods. And we have to be wary of that. Even if you're not a Christian in the whole mark of the beast and end times and things like that, if you're just a simple capitalist like myself, if you're a freedom-loving minded individual, digital currency is nothing. It's ones and zeros. People have been complaining for many years about the good old U.S. greenback, fiat currency, euros, and other currencies around the world that aren't backed by anything um, but the central government, the central bank that issues them, their faith and credit. And as of now, I think that I still have more faith and credit in the United States government backing up my currency than an anonymous digital technology. And I believe that the founder of Bitcoin, or the original architect, a Japanese fellow, I believe, or at least that's what the claim is, has never been found, or has never come forward. At least, was he murdered? Was he disappeared? Was he suicided? Or is he just a nom de plume for the CIA, the NSA, some other nefarious globalist organization that has written a backdoor code into this program, and that one day everyone's going to wake up and find that their Bitcoin accounts have been liquidated, or at least significantly diminished, while someone is sitting on all of the digital currency. I think hacking is one of the ultimate fears that we have in this day and age, as far as all the data that is out there, medical records, financial records, health records. It's the your whole life it can be found online now. I mean, even your banking and your all your online banking you do. I'm sure your bank or your credit union is offers online banking. They're tied in. Everyone's tied into the grid. We're all plugged into the matrix here. So what's to prevent a hacker from uh, taking all of your encrypted currency and leaving not a trace behind? At least now there are some safeguards that if your credit card is hacked or your bank account is hacked, your bank has some methods and ways of hedging your risk and you being able to get your money back. What happens when your digital currency is hacked and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of money, or millions, or even hundreds or thousands? There's more poor people and middle class people out there than rich people, and I think that is the drive is to get everyone moved over to this digital currency, so that the common man can be hornswoggled, uh, their life savings, all of their capital they have taken away, and then what do you do? Your chip doesn't work anymore. You can't buy anything, and now you're totally reliant on the government to protect you. And so I think that going digital in many cases has been good for society. Going digital with our money is not a good idea. Being able to trade cash for services is a human right, is something that we have been doing since the dawn of time, trading our services for cold hard something, cold hard cash, cold hard gold, silver, pearls, shells. There's many things that have acted as a physical holder and marker of money, and that is the argument of a lot of the digital currency people out there, is that money is nothing more than the trust of the people. The trust that the people put into it. If there was no trust in the greenback, then the greenback would be worth less than the paper that it's printed on. But however, we know that the world that we live in, that governments, armies, militaries, banks are a part of society. They aren't going anywhere. They will never go anywhere. And so, as I'm sure way back in the day, and when people were trading, fancy shells and cool rocks for things, there was a bank. There's a shell bank where you can store your shells, and I'm sure that the person there was making interest on that, because that's just the way society is. And so, again, getting back over to our digital currency, we just need to be wary. Christians in particular, you need to have your guard up. You need to be saving your physical precious metals, and I know cash works very well, but what happens when cash is no longer valid? When cash either becomes worthless because I don't know if you know this or not, but there is a war going on against the petrodollar. We all here in America are feeling we are in the glow of the petrodollar. Our standard of living is significantly higher because of what's known as the petrodollar. And if any country person in the world out there wants to buy oil around the country, they have to use dollars. That is the system that we set up after Nixon ended the gold standard, as our gold reserves were being quickly depleted. We had to end the gold standard and move to the oil standard. That is not, no one calls it that. Everyone knows it as the petrodollar. And there is an assault on the petrodollar. Now, the people who've gone up against the petrodollar have not fared well. Folks like Saddam Hussein, Muammar Gaddafi, just to name a few. But nevertheless, there is a bigger boy on the block. Now, Venezuela, the Basque socialist dictatorship, totalitarian hellhole that place is, of course, they couldn't buy or they have no money. All they have is oil, and so they are moving away from the petrodollar just to thumb their nose at us as they have to. We are a straw man for the Maduro terrorist socialist regime in Venezuela. So it is what it is. They have to, that regime has to have an enemy to hold up for a reason for their depravity against their own people. You see, people are turning to eating zoo animals and prostitution. It's just an utter hellhole in Venezuela. They're moving off the petrodollar. Good riddance to them. But the bigger problem that we have is our friends across the Pacific Ocean, China. China is now trading oil for yuan, which is their Chinese dollar, their currency. This is a major break from the world status quo for the past 50 years or so. It is what has been able to fund us. Chinese credit as well, but the petrodollar was where we can get all of these dollars from to spend on the military and the welfare in particular. But nevertheless, that is a talk for a different day. The Chinese problem, though, in their petrodollar war is this: if they break our hegemony on accepting dollars only for oil, there's going to be a lot of dollars in the world. People, countries out there are not going to have to convert their dollar, their local currency to dollars to buy oil. China is willing to trade oil for gold. They want gold. I have a feeling that they are looking to be able to back their currency up by gold, with gold, to offer it as a world currency, a reserve currency for the world. I don't think that they're looking to be the world currency reserve. However, I think they do want to become the player to either rival the United States, us, or surpass us. And so they are amassing as much gold as possible, and they're willing to trade, they're anything. They'll take they'll buy oil in yuan and trade it for gold. They'll sell oil for gold. It's a gold rush in China as they are trying to amass as much gold as possible under the radar. So I know you gold investors out there, there's people have been bearish on gold. I'm never bearish on gold. The world is too crazy right now to not as getting back. There's one thing that the gold has never been, and that is valueless in the history of mankind. So I don't know. I don't care how far off the deep end we go with digital currency, blockchain, etc., Bitcoin. Gold will always hold value, significant value, and so you can never go wrong by holding gold. So in today's society, you have to. We as Christians and libertarians and Americans, we cannot go down the rabbit hole of Bitcoin and blockchain and digital currencies, as it's only going to end bad for us, both for our souls and for our country as well. So hold on to your guns, your gold, and your ammunition. It's Peter Degedo signing off.